What is up, guys? It's Frank with Linemaker Sports here. We are live. I'm going to be discussing with you guys a couple bankroll things as well as what you really should be doing. If you're just starting out with sports betting, even if you already know, you're well-seasoned sports bettor, this stuff can definitely help you that I'm about to teach you guys and talk about. All right, so what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to go in the comments, and I do want you guys to comment what your bankroll is. All right, what your current bankroll is. Throw it down in the comment section. And I'm kind of going to, break it down a little bit of how much you should be betting when it comes to correlating it with your bankroll. All right, because a problem that I see a lot, this happens a lot every single day, is people will not really even care what the bankroll is, the bankroll amount that they have. All right, so they won't even pay attention to what the bankroll amount is. And they'll just go out there and start betting just random amounts of money. All right, so if you got $1,000 bankroll, sometimes that's your common bankroll where people will be betting $100 a game with $1,000 bankroll. So that's wrong, because the problem with that is because when it comes down to it, when it comes down to it and you have $1,000 bankroll, you're betting $100 a game. If you go on like a little mini bad streak and you lose like 3 or 4 games in a row, you've like lost almost half your bankroll. So now your mindset's all screwed up. All right, so now your mindset's like, oh, what, I need to get this money back. So now you start betting, you start emptying the tank out. Next thing you know, you're putting a $600 bet in because you're trying to get that money back. And then just like that, your whole bankroll is gone. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about how you can, correlate your bankroll and what your betting size should be. All right, but before we even do that and get to that, there's something that you want to do every month as well. When the month starts out, you want to set yourself a goal. All right, so you want to, set a goal correlating with what your bankroll is. So that way we can see exactly, what it is that our goal is of what we want to reach. All right, now I'm not talking about if you have, a $50 bankroll saying I want to make 10 grand in the month, in 1 month. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a realistic goal. All right, because a realistic goal would be anywhere from about 5 to 10 units. All right, with 10 units being the unit size that you're betting. All right, which is correlating with what your bankroll is, kind of like what I'm going to discuss with you guys right now. All right, so I already seen somebody comment and say $100 bankroll. So with a $100 bankroll, it's kind of tough. All right, because with a $100 bankroll, you don't really have too much room to go with here. All right, so with a $100 bankroll, the best thing that I would suggest is, when you have a bankroll of like 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, I always say keep it between 1 to 3%, so never really go above that. But if you have like a $100 bankroll, $200 to $500 bankroll, you can kind of get up a little bit to about like a 5% range. All right, so for a $100 bankroll, I'd say you should be betting in increments of $5 plays. All right, and these, what I'm discussing with you guys, are straight bets. All right, I'm not talking about parlays, because parlays, you just don't want to even do them at all. And if you do want to, dabble in doing some parlays here and there, because I know a lot of people and most people that are watching, you guys love to do parlays. If you're going to do that, you really have to take like 0.01% of your bankroll to be able to dabble that into a parlay. All right, to where it's like if you lose it, it doesn't even matter. All right, if you lose it, it's whatever. It's like taking $2 and going and playing the lottery ticket or something like that. That you don't really care if you lose it. It's not a big deal. All right, but anything more than that, I wouldn't even suggest doing when it comes to parlays. All right, so let's start out with the $1,000 bankroll, for example. All right, so let's say you have a $1,000 bankroll. What are we going to do here? So, like I said, you want to keep it between that 1 to 3% range. All right, so people are going to be like, $10 to $30. That's not much, right? You're not betting much. Here's the thing, though. You got to realize this. You're betting $10 to $30 and you make 10 units in a month. On the high end, you made an extra $300. All right, so it might not seem like a lot of money, but trust me, $300 can definitely help anybody with a bill or something like that. All right, so you guys got to be able to understand that the amount of money, it doesn't matter. If you're profiting money and you're making any money, trust me, you are doing better than almost 99% of what other sports bettors are doing. All right, so it might not seem much in the beginning, but it does add up over time. To quote what somebody said in the comments, it adds up over time. Trust me, you keep stacking it and stacking it, then you can start betting more, and your increments become bigger, your bankroll becomes bigger. It's just, you got to start somewhere. All right, you have to start somewhere, so it doesn't really matter. All right, where you start at, just you got to do it right. All right, now let's say, for example, you have that $1,000 bankroll and you're betting $10 to $30. All right, so if you're betting $10 to $30, here's the thing. To be able to lose that whole entire bankroll of $1,000, like almost something impossible has to happen to where you can't win a bet to save your life for like a whole month, because that's nearly impossible. It's for you to lose $1,000 bankroll betting $10 to $30 a pop. All right, it's nearly impossible because you're not going to lose that many games. All right, unless you are the worst sports bettor of all time and you just cannot get anything right, then maybe, you know, maybe the luck could be not on your side there, but I doubt that is going to happen. All right, so ensuring that you do it like this and do like 1 to 3% of what your bankroll is ensures that you're never going to lose that. All right, and when you have a smaller bankroll, like I said, smaller than $1,000, like you can go to 5%. Even at 5%, it's going to be pretty tough for you to lose that whole entire bankroll. But you got to be happy with what the profits that you make. All right, you cannot be, you know, thinking your mindset like, whoa, I had $1,000 and then I go ahead and you know, I'm betting the small amount of money and I only made a couple $100 in a whole entire month. I only made a couple $100. But guess what? You did something that guarantee you most of the people that you talk to, if you go to a sports book, they didn't do. They're all down money. They're all going into their pockets. They're all waiting to get paid next week to add some more money in their bankroll or to go bet, you know, to make a bet again. So you got to realize that even if you're winning small amounts of money, you're still making money. All right, you're still making something. Now, just think, you know, you have $1,000 bankroll. Well, what if you had a $100,000 bankroll? All right, you had a $100,000 bankroll. Now look at how much you're making, you know, per bet and stuff like that. So it really doesn't matter what size the bankroll is. There should always be the same exact approach to it. All right, because you don't want to, you just don't want to have the wrong mindset when it comes to this stuff. All right, guys, and that's just gambling in general. I'm not just talking about sports betting. If you're doing blackjack and, you know, baccarat, stuff like that, it really comes to the same stuff. Like, you got to use the same bankroll management with all of it. All right, because to even have a slight edge to try to make any type of money, you have to have the right management to do that. If you don't, then you're just going to lose everything. It's just, I guarantee you right now, you're going to lose everything if you don't do it the right way. All right, so you got to have your stuff together when it comes down to it. All right, now a question says at 1 to 3 units to win or risk. So good thing you asked that because I actually want to address that as well. It would be not, so here's an example. If a game is minus 110, you're betting $100 a pop, you're not betting minus 110 to win 100. All right, you're not doing that. You're betting what your unit size is. All right, you're not betting what the odds are. All right, you're not doing that. So if you have a $10 or $30 unit size, if the odds are minus, you know, 150, doesn't matter. You're still betting $10 or $30 in between that range of what you're doing. All right, so it does not matter. That is how you're going to approach that, because that is a common mistake that a lot of sports bettors out there do, is they will go and bet what the odds are to try to make that unit as a profit. Now, here's the problem when it comes to that. All right, so if you bet a game that's like minus 200, let's say, and you're risking 2 units to gain 1. All right, so if you lose that bet, now you're out 2 units. Now you have to recoup 2 units there. All right, because you risked 2 instead of just doing 1. So if you just bet one unit, okay, you're only going to make a half a unit back if it's minus 200. But listen, you are going to be able to recoup that over time. As long as you're doing it the correct way and you're doing it over time, you can recoup it. All right, guys, so this is pretty much beginning stuff that you should be, you know, addressing before you are putting any serious money really into sports betting. All right, so another thing I do want to mention is if you guys want to be coached by me one-on-one on how to do this at a high level, and you guys are ready with a high bankroll and ready to get it going, make sure you guys go down below and book a call. All right, because we can get you going and definitely teach you how to do this for a living or even for a secondary source of income. All right, because it's definitely possible. For people to tell you it's not possible, you can't beat the sports books, you can't make money doing it, guess what? They're just not doing it themselves. That's the only thing that's stopping them. They can't do it themselves. They can't figure it out. All right, so that's the only problem when it comes to that. But if you ensure yourself with a solid bankroll management right from the beginning, then you literally can flip a coin and you'll still be able to make, you know, you'll still not lose all your money. I'll put it that way. You're still not going to lose all your money, even if you flip a coin, if you have the right bankroll management that goes along with it. All right, so that's an example of a $1,000 bankroll right there. Like I said, we can correlate that and talk about same thing with a $5,000 bankroll. All right, so a $5,000 bankroll, if you have $5,000 saved up and you're betting 1 to 3%, you're betting $50 to $150. All right, so look, that's that sweet range of where people bet usually like $100 or whatnot. So think about this: if you're betting $100 a game, what is your bankroll? Is your bankroll like 5,000? Is your bankroll 10,000? Is your bankroll in those range? Most people, it's not. I'm telling you right now, it's not. Most people that are betting $100 a game usually have a bankroll between $500 to like $1,500. All right, because that's kind of the range where you feel like $100 is okay to be risking. but it's not, because if you have a bad losing streak, I mean, I just see David in here said he's went on a 12 loss losing streak before. If you have a 12 game losing streak, you won't even last that. If you're betting $100 a game with a $1,000 bankroll, you can only lose 10 in a row and you've lost your whole entire bankroll. All right, so that's what I'm saying. You can't do that. Now, let's take, for example, the behind me, the $1,000 bankroll. If you lost 12 in a row betting $10 a piece, now you've only lost $120 out of that $1,000. You still have $880 left. All right, so you got to realize that, look, you could lose 12 in a row and you still have $880 left from the example that I got behind me. All right, so with the right management and the right doing, you're going to be able to, do it right. You're going to be able to sustain and not lose all of your money, because that's how you win, guys, is not losing your money. All right, because most of your people lose their money every single weekend. The NFL, everybody's emptying out their pockets, they're emptying out their paychecks, they're doing nothing but losing their money. So you got to realize they're just, if you're not losing your money, then you're actually winning. All right, you're winning. You did the first step. The first step is not losing your money. If you're not losing your money, then you're doing a good job. All right, and that starts with this, of what I'm teaching you right now. It starts with the bankroll management, being able to set a goal of how much you want to make within a month, because here's a problem with not setting a goal. All right, with not setting a goal, you're kind of up in the air. So if you get on a hot streak and you start winning, a good amount of units, like let's say you won like 10 units in the first week of you betting, and you don't even have a goal, well, you're just going to keep going. All right, so you're just going to keep betting and betting, and guess what? You could end up not, continuing on a hot streak, because it all does end up evening out, and then you could even end up losing by the end of the month. All right, so you got to have a goal. So if you set your goal at the beginning of the month, like, all right, I want to make 10, I want to make 15 units, this is what I want to make. If I reach that, then I'm going to cut it off. All right, and here's the thing. If you reach your goal, but you can't physically cut it off, then you have a gambling problem. All right, because the problem is with that is that you're in this to make money. So if you're going to reach your goal that you reach, you should be able to cut it off. Whether if you reach it in the first week, you can cut it off, and then you don't gamble for 3 weeks out of the month. All right, you just take the rest of the month off because you reached your goal. All right, so make sure that you guys are correlating your goal with your bankroll, because it will all correlate back to your emotional of how you feel when you're watching games and how you're betting, and ensure that you don't have develop a gambling problem as well, because I see this a lot daily too, is gambling problem when it comes to people just nonstop betting. They have to have action in every single day. If you have to have action in every single day, then you have a problem, because there's some days, even myself, there's some days where I am not even placing a bet because there's just nothing out there to really for me to look at. There's nothing that I like. There's nothing that goes through the strategies that I implement. Some days are like that, so I'll take those days off. So you don't need to bet every single day. If you have to force yourself to bet every single day, then you should probably, more likely not be betting at all, because you'll end up just losing all your money anyway, because you're forcing stuff left and right. All right, guys, but this is exactly the things that you should know when you're starting out sports betting, all right? But even when you're not starting out sports betting, if you're a seasoned sports bettor but you're constantly losing money, this is something else that you need to learn too. You need to implement this into your stuff. All right, let's go to the comments a little bit here. I see you guys talking in the comments a bit. So we got one that says, Legendary5415 says he has about X amount that he gets every 2 weeks and he tries to double up on. All right, so the thing is with that is, are you saying like you're taking your whole paycheck and putting it in your bankroll and then trying to double your paycheck in that time frame in 2 weeks? Because that's dangerous. That's very dangerous if you're trying to do that. All right, so that's very dangerous way to roll there. And then we got Gabe here that said he started out with $80 last year and built his bankroll up to over $9K. But this past week, he tilted and lost $2K. So now he's down $7K. All right, so see, here's the thing. Like, what sucks about that is, look, you worked so hard for a whole entire year to build that bankroll up, and in a matter of a week, you tilted and lost most of it. So you got to master the emotional part of it. All right, that's like very important. I'm telling you, it's very important, because now you'll feel like you've wasted your time for a whole year building your bankroll. You should have just adjusted your bankroll and correlated it to what it was, the new bankroll. All right, because if you started out with $80, now you're at $9,000, then just readdress like how I just showed you back here. You could have took the $9,000, did 1 to 3%. There you go. You'd have been betting from $90 to $270 in that range, and you would not have lost a whole bunch of money. You wouldn't be down to 7K or whatnot. All right, so if you are down to 7K, like you're saying right now, if you're down to 7K, I would literally just reevaluate what you're doing right now and use what I'm telling you right now. Take that 7,000, Let's go 1% to 3% in that range. Make that your unit size of what you're betting. So bet between 70 to that $210 mark and ride with it from there. All right, that's my advice when it comes to that. All right, and David now says that dopamine is a killer in sports betting for real. Gotta never go over your unit size. Yep, it definitely is, because everybody loves that rush, right? Everybody loves that rush when you're putting a whole bunch of money on a game. Like you get that feeling like you're on top of the world when you do win. But the problem is when you lose, you feel the complete opposite and you feel like an idiot. All right, so trust me, there's a lot that goes into that with emotions and stuff like that I'll get into in a later date in another video with everybody. But emotion, will definitely kill you in sports betting. All right, it'll kill you in general, just in life, being emotional about stuff. All right, so you got to learn, take the emotion out of it. You take the emotion out of it, then guess what? There's nothing that can really affect you. All right, because that's what forces people to tilt, is the emotion. Because if you lose a couple of games, and especially if you lose some stuff on like a bad beat, bad beats happen every single day. How many times does that happen? It happens every single day. Bad beats always continuously happen. So when a bad beat hits you, the feeling sucks, because it's like you felt like you were going to win and then it was just taken away from you in the last second. So the emotion that's behind that is like, I should have won that bet. I should have won that. That was wrong. They did me wrong. So it's like, let me go out now and get what's mine. I need to get it back. You just got to forget about it. It happens every day. Bad beats happen every day. Stupid stuff in sports happens all the time. All right? You just got to chalk it up and move on to the next day. That's all it is. Chalk it up, move it on to the next day. All right? And then, Gabe, you said you usually bet 2% per play, but I'm limiting my plays to 1 bet per day. Yeah, I mean, that's smart for right now. That's smart to do. You could definitely limit yourself to whatever really, whatever's working for you. You can limit yourself if you want. I never tend to limit myself because, well, I go through a certain checklist of stuff that I look through every single day. So whatever it spits out at the end of the day, that's how many plays I end up rolling with. So that's just really how that works from my side. So that's how I look at it. Because if you limit yourself, the problem is like, how do you know which one to pick if you limit yourself that you're picking a winner? Or, it's kind of tough to choose that. All right, because that's like me going through a day and then having 5 plays, but yet I just want to pick 2 of them. Well, how do I know which 2 are actually going to win? I don't. We don't know. Nobody knows. All you could do is set yourself up on the highest probability side to be able to win a bet, and then you hope that it comes through, because none of us can control what happens in sports, and none of us can see the future. All right, because if we could, then obviously we wouldn't be able to bet at sports books. They wouldn't even allow you. But this is the first step, guys. What I was just talking about back here is your bankroll size. You need to be able to correlate that. Make sure you're correlating that with your unit size. All right, because some people don't even know what unit size is. I get that question a lot, like, what is a unit size? And unit size is what I just showed you. 1% to 3% of what your bankroll is, the total amount of money that you have. So make sure that you guys are doing the correct things when it comes to it. All right, Jonathan, you just chimed in and said that you have a $2,000 bankroll. So what a $2,000 bankroll? Same example behind me. You just double it. All right. So what I would be betting is $20 to $60 per play. That's pretty much what you'd be looking at. $20 to $60 per play. That's how you should be looking at it, and you shouldn't really vary from it. Just keep it at that. All right, guys. So like always, guys, if you guys got any questions, make sure you guys throw it in the comment section, even after the chat and stuff here while we're live, and I will answer it later down the road. If you guys are interested in working with me one-on-one and learning those strategies that I was just talking to you guys about, go down below and book a call. All right. If you guys are ready to take your betting to a high level, then go down and book a call. All right. As always, guys, I'm Frank with Linemaker Sports. I'll catch you guys in the next stream. Till then, I'm out.